I haven't had PMS since I got my periods back.
Welcome to two very tired mammies.
So tired.
This tree is called Samantha.
The most underrated skincare secret is when I feel a bit overwhelmed by the world, I love coming back to a movie that I know is amazing. When I know what's going to happen in the movie, it just really soothes my anxiety.
How are you? Welcome back to my 5th monthly vlog of 2025. We are coming into the summer. You may have guessed, but all my life I've been a winter Christmas girly. But I appreciate this time of year a lot more now that I have kids because there's less viruses. Parenting is way easier when you can spend most of the day outside. Living in Ireland, we get a lot of rain, we get a lot of clouds. We're getting the vitamin D and all the flowers. It's just so nice. It's also a nice time to have a little check-in with yourself in terms of goals and plans. Like if you made some goals in January that are maybe gathering a bit of dust, maybe comment to your future self down below, make a little promise. Promise yourself you'll make some moves on that thing. You know the thing? My thing for this year, I didn't really share this openly, but I wanted to come up with a business idea. And I've been wanting to create something that people actually need or that would help people in some way. And I think in May, I did that. I'm drawing up the ideas. We're in that stage. It's exciting even just looking into how to get from here with an idea to here. I know I will figure it out because when I set my mind to things, I bloody well follow through. Be that completely turning my health around inside and out, be that publishing books, be that bringing visions to life. Like, you know, I always wanted a Sex and the City style walk-in closet and then I made one. Like, I just like to make shit happen. And when I look back at where I was entering adulthood, broke, depressed, lonely, isolated, no qualifications, no plans for my future, no vision of how to claw myself out of the hole I was in. My health was on the floor and everything seemed very bleak. After a breakup, after losing a baby, my life was not looking good when I was 19, let me tell you. And I truly believe that we have more influence over the direction of our lives than we think. I know that there are things out of our control, but even small shifts in how we speak and think and therefore act can be really powerful, can create lasting changes. I'm in my office and I'm working on something that feels kind of huge. So I've been asked to give a speech next month in Google headquarters at YouTube's, hang on, I need to read this. YouTube's Global Internal Conference for their executive and admin business partners. I know, I had the same reaction. And it's a paid gig. Like, it's one of those moments where you take a step back and think, how did I end up here? This comes after another bizarre experience I had earlier this month at a YouTuber gathering I was invited to, and this lady from YouTube gave me a little shout out in person in a room full of YouTubers.
Huge welcome, because this is our first ever Irish creator collective. We're celebrating with the best Irish YouTubers. Lifestyle creators, Melanie Murphy and Half Gala. Oh, Jesus.
I don't know, maybe I just forgot how bloody special this is. This, us, me and you being here. It's honestly made me pause and reflect quite a bit because I've been doing this a long time, 12 years, and I don't have the biggest channel in the world. Like, I'm not getting millions of views every month, but the fact that I can still do this full time, that it's my actual job, that's something I just never want to take that for granted. And yeah, I think there's this misconception sometimes that to be a proper YouTuber, you need to be constantly going viral or racking up huge numbers. But actually, that's not the case. I go viral quite a lot on Instagram, but make absolutely no money from that. Pretty much anyone can get a video to go viral these days. What really matters is having people come back over and over again. Like you, I'm speaking to you. People who stick with you, like, yeah, some of my YouTube videos reach new audiences, but there's around 30,000 of you that come back to this channel over and over, no matter what I post. That's like a mid-sized stadium full of people. That's insane. You're one of the people who has made this job what it is for me. Like, you've co-created my life with me by being here and enabling me to earn a living from making these videos. And I know how lucky I am to have that kind of community. Like, some of you know more about me than certain relatives do. Like, we are a family. I overheard a conversation in a cafe the other day. These two women were talking about how sad it is that people feel the need to stop and take out their camera, and, you know, how miserable they must be. But like, I am condensing a whole month into around an hour or less. Was I standing around all month with my camera out? No. But by capturing myself out exploring with my children, am I maybe influencing some people to romanticize their own lives and to find magic in the mundane? Hopefully. Some of you tell me that, you know, that it's not just content, that it's a little nudge to slow down or notice the details or to see your own day a bit differently. How this job has shaped my whole life, not just professionally, but personally. The time it gives me with my kids, I get to do the school drop-offs and pickups and be there for all the little things. All the stuff that means everything to me right now, I get. And there's a financial stability in my life that I never thought I'd get from this. Like, when I first started as a university student living on €180 a week from the Irish government, I was on this thing called a back to education allowance. And I just never fully sank in that my hobby was paying my bills. Even when my hobby paid for my house and paid for my wedding, I could hardly believe it. And like, every year for years, I've anticipated things may be drying up. Even though I'm into all my positive thinking and law of attraction and manifesting, like, you know, everyone, I have dips where negative thoughts can be seductive. You know, I have to work really hard on that all the time. But yeah, I've often thought about, like, what would I do instead of this? But nothing ever appeals more than sharing thoughts and getting to edit videos and getting to write books. Like, nothing. I also thought I'd have to sacrifice my income when I had children, as I knew I'd end up working less, obviously, if I didn't get childcare. But I've built something really sustainable, like, that works for my life as it is now. And no, I'm not a millionaire, but like, working part-time, I'm able to pay half of the mortgage and the bills, and I can buy what I need to buy, and I can afford certain little luxuries, like the odd trip to a hotel with my family or the odd massage, and I can look after my children, so I don't need to pay that like wild cost of childcare. Gratitude doesn't even cover it. I can afford to say no to sponsorships that don't feel right. I can take breaks when I need to. I can pour myself into things I actually care about. And that's such a privilege, to be a mother with creative freedom, a flexible schedule, direct connection with people from all over the world, no boss, and opportunities beyond YouTube coming in all the time. Probably sounds like a walking advertisement for becoming a YouTuber, but I promise they're not paying me to say any of this. It's just how I feel. Yes, there's very hard parts. Trolls, speculation, misinterpretation, creative burnout. That one is so real. Like, I did an interview for The Guardian this month on how that specifically greatly contributed to my mini breakdown last year. The very specific kind of burnout only experienced by content creators. But all of the challenges I would take 1,000,000 times over if it meant I could keep doing this. I see myself eventually being like Sandra Hart. She's this YouTuber in her 80s that I watch. And I just wanna stick around, even if it's just me talking to 10 people about the flowers in my garden. Being invited to speak to the people behind the scenes at YouTube and share my perspective as a creator who's been doing this a long time. That feels really special. This platform means the absolute world to me. There's so much purpose and autonomy in my life thanks to this website, and while some might see YouTubers, bigger ones, focusing so much on extrinsic goals like wealth and status, I hope that I am showing you, and like other little creators like me, that we show you the intrinsic goals matter most. Relationships and growth, personal growth. I hope that our connection here is meaningful, that it encourages you to reconnect to people in your life and nature and meaning and purpose. That is a little thing that I hope. Oh no. Getting a bit emotional. I know you can't see me, just hear my voice along with all of these clips of this month, but all I ever wanted was a family, and to care for a family and stability and, you know, a safe home, and everything happening right now in Gaza. It's just very hard to look around me and just want this feeling for everybody. It's hard to look around and see such a lack of love in certain people and what some people are capable of doing. I sometimes wish I could bottle the feelings I have and just, I don't know, pour it down the necks of people who are so willing to make innocent people suffer, innocent children. And everyone deserves love and to feel safe. I think it is time I put down the microphone. But please know that when I put down the microphone, I too am seeing what is happening and feeling such intense frustration and hopelessness. And I too am emailing my representatives, and I too am donating, and I too want to scream into the void. And I too am trying to hide all of this from my children, and I'm trying to enjoy my life, this beautiful life, while I have it. And at times I'm struggling to grapple with the fact that that ability is being denied to so many people.
I am trying really hard to get used to this new camera. It is the Canon PowerShot V1. It's a new camera that's meant to be the vlogging camera. It's designed with vlogging in mind, but like the lens is so wide. Here's our messy sleep situation. Our son is in a little bed over there. None of our blankets and pillowcases match. I'm just gonna do a walk around because I'm trying to come to terms with how much of my background will be visible vlogging on this. As you know, I have ADHD. I'm not the tidiest person. Mid-change of bedding in here. But yeah, I've been filming stuff that I've not been putting online, just trying to get used to this lens. Like, it fits so much in frame. Now, it's a great camera. Like, it actually shows up more of my imperfections on my skin and all that. I'm not used to seeing like that much of my arm. If I put my arm out, you can see we have a million blankets on our couches because we want them to last for a couple of decades and our children spill food. I quite fancy, actually, am I dirty? Yeah, I'm gonna go and get dressed. I quite fancy a snack, and then I have to do my makeup. We are gonna go on a little day out. We're keeping our eyes peeled for some bits for the garden. We've been constantly out in the garden the past few days, and I'll show you what we've been up to.
Hey, that's my cake.
Is that your cake, or is it the last of the sweet potato cupcakes and we're going to share it? Can we share it?
No.
No?
I need to make more of them. I can't believe they're all gone. I made 12. They're all gone in like 3 days. I'm due my period today. I use Natural Cycles to track my periods. This isn't sponsored. I have worked with them before. Just important to declare. But I don't even have to measure my temperature in the mornings anymore. This ring does it. It's the Aura ring. It's brilliant. Sorry, I'm just looking for this. It's my Sculpted by Amy Beauty Base Protect All-in-One Moisturising Primer. It has SPF 50 in it. yeah, don't even have to think about it. Like, this just puts my temperature automatically into natural cycles because they sync up together. And anyway, I got my period back quite late into breastfeeding my daughter. Like, I didn't have a period for so long. And ever since it came back, it has been like really, really predictable, first of all. So like my cycles are exactly 29 days, basically. One was 30 days, one was 28 days, but usually they're like to a T the same, predictable. But the crazy thing is, I haven't had PMS since I got my periods back. If you are a long-time viewer of this channel, you will remember years ago, I even had a series called PMS Party. My PMS was insane. Like, I was never diagnosed with PMDD, but I suspected that. Like, I had the worst PMS symptoms imaginable. And now I don't have it anymore. And I've been trying to figure out why, because I know other people who, like, it got worse after they had babies. So one theory that I came across when I was reading into this, because you know the way I get like hyper obsessed, hyper focused on things, trying to learn about them. One theory that some experts believe is that the reason so many women suffer with PMS, especially in their 20s, late teens, 20s. My concealer's all gone. I use this pink concealer, the Maybelline one that has a sponge. Yeah, they basically believe that the reason we suffer so much with PMS is because we're avoiding pregnancy through, you know, birth control, and that essentially historically women, most of the time they would be pregnant or they would be breastfeeding. If they were going to be sexually active, they were essentially signing up to be pregnant a lot of the time, and that our bodies had this biological design, and that by avoiding that and having so many more cycles and all, leads to things not working as they should. But firstly, yeah, I don't think they're saying, you know, we should all be going out having babies when we're 18, 20. Of course, like even though our parents' generation literally did that, it's a very recent thing for us to be putting that off later, but we basically have to. Like, I know that for me, mentally, financially, so many reasons I couldn't have, I wasn't with the person I felt I wanted to raise a family with. Like, there's so many different factors that come into family planning. Yeah, I just don't know that I buy that, because some women have kids and then find that it gets worse. So I don't know how I feel about that. I would love to know, firstly, while I talk through these things, what age you are, if you have any kids, if you're on birth control, like, you know, like the pill or whatever, any of those kind of non-natural birth control methods. Because I use cycle tracking through natural cycles and combined with pull out. Sometimes if it's a red day, we'll perhaps opt for a latex-free condom. But yeah, I want to know those things, and if you have PMS and the severity of your PMS. So please share, if you're comfortable, that information down below, and like, just because I'm just really curious. But yeah, like, I get like, I don't know, the tiniest bit more bloating and like the most mildest little crampy sensation where I'm kind of like, something's happening down there, something's brewing, but it's nothing like what used to happen to me. I used to retain so much water, my moods would be crazy for 2 weeks of the month, I'd have the most agonizing, painful cramps where I'd have to take painkillers, I'd have to have like hot water bottles. It was a joke. My life seemed to revolve around it. And so through my deep dive, I have learned a few things using shade Porcelain of the Second Skin Dewy Finish by Sculpted by Amy. But yeah, pregnancy and childbirth can literally change the shape of your cervix and your uterus. Yeah, like, they physically stretch, and apparently that can affect things and the pain, and going through that can also affect how your hormones regulate. So that is a theory, but then I feel like maybe it's more so my lifestyle. And there was a time when I had a kind of healthier lifestyle pre-babies. I can't even remember, did my PMS start to improve during that time though? But basically for years now, I've not been drinking alcohol since before I got my periods back. I have been really on top of making sure I'm getting enough nutrition. I've been having way more whole foods, way less processed stuff. I've been moving way more. I've been sleeping way better. So those things will affect general inflammation in the body, and inflammation itself can apparently make PMS much worse. Also, all of the nervous system stuff that I do, I have talked about this in other videos, but I do a lot of different things like in pockets throughout the day. Resonance breathing is one, box breathing, so different types of breathwork practices. I will meditate when I can, especially when I'm using my red light therapy mask, which I did this morning because my husband is off work on his holidays now for a couple of weeks, which would be lovely. Yeah, like I do positive visualizations, I do cold showers every other day. Used to be every single day, but I don't feel like I need to do them every single day now. I do yoga stretches, I do like self-hugs, I do the kind of like really just anything relaxing. I adjust my posture to communicate safety to my brain. I don't look at the news very much at all. I keep my screen time down, a lot of things to support my nervous system, and apparently that alone affects how your body handles hormonal changes. What I mean is, if your nervous system is chilled out and you're completely, restored and relaxed and out in nature lots and all that, you are less sensitive to the mood swings and aches. And there's so many things. So like even just the fact that I used to be on hormonal birth control, I didn't know that oral contraceptives could actually deplete things like certain B vitamins, magnesium, things that I actually now supplement a lot with. So that's another thing. It's just like all these different angles, but specifically vitamin B6 and magnesium, they're really important apparently. And back when I used to make the PMS party videos, I'd only just come off hormonal birth control, and I think even just coming off of it can lead to your whole system having to try and like recalibrate. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. I just like talking about this kind of stuff because the amount of stuff I've found out from YouTube for free, and just even just like little ideas being put in my head by like seeing someone doing this positive habit and this positive thing. I have absorbed so many amazing positive habits from the internet, and they have resulted in my life being way better, way easier. That PMS stuff used to just take over my whole life. But yeah, did you notice big changes? Like if you had babies, did things get easier or harder? Oh, I hear my baby crying. Give me a minute. No, she stopped. See, it's really hard to like, if you're the mother, you usually like jump in if they're upset, but I'm trying to let my husband figure out his own ways of like calming her, because recently she's become way more reliant on me. She is currently on her first ever antibiotic. She's 2.5. We've been so lucky with the kids' health, like just unbelievable. The breastfeeding has definitely helped things, but obviously kids catch everything. And remember we were all sick last month with the COVID. Basically, my daughter's kind of main symptoms went away, but then she just started getting temperatures again, acting like she just wasn't better. And she just didn't seem right in herself at all. You know the way you get a gut feeling. So I brought her to the doctor and he checked her out, and he said her tonsil, like one of her tonsils was really inflamed and had like white patches on it. And he suspected it was a bacterial infection. And what drives me mad in Ireland is that I understand it's because they couldn't afford to like test everyone, but like in the hospitals they will swab someone's throat for, is it strep A or whatever it is, the thing that usually causes bacterial infections, because most tonsillitis, like with ear infections and all the rest, is related to viruses, and viruses can't be treated with antibiotics. There's a lot of overprescribing in this country of antibiotics, like just in case antibiotics. And yeah, a lot of the time it's because doctors feel quite pressured by parents to do something. And with a virus, there's nothing they can really do. You just let the body heal itself. Anyway, sorry, I keep getting off track. The GPs here don't actually swab their throat. They just kind of have to guess. And I feel like, yeah, a lot of times they will prescribe an antibiotic when they really don't know if it's bacterial or not. And you kind of just, you have to trust them or like, yeah, but there's a brilliant podcast by a neonatologist. It's the Baby Tribe podcast. It's one of my favorite podcasts. I'll link it down below. It is brilliant if you're a parent. But they had an episode about antibiotic stewardship, and that, like, yeah, parents need to sometimes push back or just ask more questions, like, is this really needed? And like, basically the negative side of overconsumption of antibiotics when they're not necessary. There's all sorts of issues to do with them then not working in situations where they're really needed, especially when you don't finish a course of antibiotics, so you always have to like finish the course. I'm really going off on one right now, but my daughter is on an antibiotic because I did feel that it was just like her temperatures were insanely high, and I did have a look down her throat. I took a photo. I was like getting her to open her mouth, and it looked nasty. And within like 2 days of being on the antibiotic, she was completely back to herself. No more white patches. So I do think it was definitely necessary. But you know, there was a time like a year ago, and she had a virus, and I kind of just wanted a bit of reassurance. But anyway, I remember it was with this GP I was never with before, and he prescribed an antibiotic, and he didn't really explain why, and we didn't give it to her, and she got better basically within a day. So, you know, I do think that sometimes they take the piss with antibiotics. But that said, like, we've been very lucky. Like, I was on a million antibiotics as a child, and I was always like, I was going in hospital with constipation where they'd be giving me laxatives when I was like 3 or 4. Like, I for years used to do a shite once a week, and I had like pebble shites for years and years and years. I had so many stomach issues, and I was constantly sick. I had chronic, constant sore throat and tonsils and tonsil stones, and like, it's just mental that, I don't know, I just feel like my health has just sorted itself out so much. So many different things that used to plague me. But PMS was one of them. One thing I had been giving pregnancy credit for, which I don't think it deserved, was for getting rid of my IBS. Do you remember I had terrible IBS? Like, so bad. And basically when I got pregnant, like, all those symptoms went away, and it just didn't come back. And funnily enough, when I had all of the long COVID stuff, which turned out to be dysregulated nervous system, I was getting flare-ups of that, the IBS and the crazy belching and all that stuff, and food sensitivities. And I genuinely think that was a manifestation of emotions, repressed emotions, like terror. That specifically flared up really bad when I first was with my husband. We were in a relationship, and I think I was like so terrified that things wouldn't work out. And so, yeah, I remember I was like drinking loads, and I just felt like there's so much I wanted to say, and I was scared to say it, and I was just going through a lot. And I think that IBS was like me holding a ton of like tension and emotions and stuff, literally, like, and that was affecting my gut. Because that can happen. Like, when you read into all this stuff, it is insane how connected our mind and our body are. And we all know this. Like, if you get excited, you get butterflies in your stomach. If you get embarrassed, your cheeks turn red. If you have an incredibly stressful day and a bad sleep, you get a headache. Like, we generally know and accept certain mind-body symptoms, but then people act like it's woo-woo when you talk about how certain physical pains and I don't know, like anxiety, because that is a physical thing. Like, I don't know, people just act like there's no way my long COVID could be related to my brain and my nervous system. Like, you know, the heart rate stuff, I remember after I had long COVID, when I had long COVID, I would be sitting down, heart rate would be like 70. I'd stand up, my heart rate would be like 130. That's called POTS. Like, it's a horrible sensation. And but people would be like, that's a physical thing. Like, there's something physically wrong with me. My heart rate goes mad with panic attacks. Certain thoughts, just thinking certain things can affect your heart rate. Like, but it's not like a conscious thing. Like, your heart rate and all, your nervous system takes care of all that stuff. But your nervous system can get stuck in like a fight or flight mode or a freeze. There's a freeze state it's called polyvagal theory, but it is fascinating. I don't know how I'm on this now, but I just think all these things tie in together. Like my health was a shit show, and I had all these different like you're this and you've that and you've this and you've that, and I think they were all just related. They're completely interconnected. But it's not like it's a one size fits all. It's not like you can be like to everyone, just learn about this stuff and you'll be fine, because there's other things that come into it, like your environment, the people you live with, your financial situation. It's really complex, but I don't know, I just can't wait for healthcare to catch up, which it is slowly. There's certain doctors who are like so aware of all this stuff. One of my favorite people to listen to on the internet is Dr. Howard Schubiner. And if you know anyone with like any kind of chronic pain, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, this guy explains neuroscience stuff in such a digestible way. And I think the first thing I watched with him, he was explaining how like stories like this, like a guy on a building site stood on a nail and he's like screaming in agony, and then they bring him into the hospital and they take off his boot, and the nail had like gone between his toes and hadn't even like cut his skin. And he talks about like phantom limb syndrome, and how you can get pain, like you can get a pain signal even if there is no structural damage, and it doesn't mean the pain is any less real. The most agonizing pain I ever had after that COVID, like some people might describe it as psychosomatic, but that word has real negative connotations because it's like, oh, you're imagining it, it's all in your brain. Like, no, if you're in pain, you're in pain. It doesn't matter what's causing the pain, you're in pain. And yeah, like one doctor was saying, because two very close female relatives of mine have fibromyalgia on both sides of my family, that and what I was describing basically falls under fibromyalgia, and they were saying like COVID could have triggered that. Absolutely fascinating to me, because I just think there's a lot of people are stuck in a real medicalized, like I think doctors are incredible with certain things, like bacterial infections. If you break your leg, you need a, transplant, like certain things, incredible, thank God for them. But then other things, you do need a much more holistic approach. There are very simple strategies that can work and make such an improvement, drastic improvement to your life and how your brain perceives things. And like one thing that I am obsessed with, like it's like my current absolute obsession, brain retraining. It's neuroscience. We're always brain retraining. I learned how to drive. That was my brain making new neural connections. And you can do this for your whole life. You can constantly learn and create new neural pathways. But retraining something is, so say this is your driveway and you're coming out your driveway and you always turn this way to go to work. Every day you just on autopilot put the indicator on to turn this way. Brain retraining is essentially as if you were in that situation trying to make your automatic thing to indicate to go this way instead. And it doesn't mean this road is gone. It's like, it just means it can eventually, if you're changing in a habit, but there's always the potential. So like with certain pains I was getting with long COVID, like the nerve pain, I've talked about this in other videos. If you're just watching my monthly vlogs and you haven't heard me talk about this before, one of my symptoms with my long COVID was this like burning skin, like this electric shock sensation in my arms, my legs and my face and my head. It was horrible. But I first realized the brain retraining would work when I did a certain exercise where you are encouraged to try and turn up the pain, and it worked. And then I was like, okay, if I can turn it up, we can turn it down. Like something's gone on there. But anyway, that will come back on. When my daughter got really sick and she was just like, her temperature was like, she felt like a radiator, I started feeling it. And so the potential for my nervous system to get so fear is the main driver of that for me, and of lots of different symptoms. But I'm getting better at recognizing what certain emotions are. I don't know if that's an ADHD thing or if it's like a child trauma thing, but I'm not the best at labeling or like identifying very basic emotions. Getting better at it. Brain retraining is crazy. I love doing all these like mad visualizations, especially if I start getting any kind of anxiety, any kind of pain in any situation where, like if I've not slept well, whatever it is. And I visualize just like really funny things. Like there's this amazing woman that I follow. I met her, I went to a dance class with her. Her name is Bonnie Boo. Follow her on Instagram. She does like burlesque dancing, and she's often in her sexy lingerie, and sometimes she does these really funny ones where she's like dressed up as a granny and she has like bum tassels on her bum. But I make her pop up in my head if I have any kind of pain, and she just pops up and starts like dancing like mad, and she's waving a wand. I call her Wanda in my brain. I don't call her Bonnie Boo, I call her Wanda. And she just like, she's like, we don't do this anymore, brain. We're fine, we're safe, we're grand. And like, I've loads of different things like that. I was watching this guy talking about how he brain retrained away his COVID symptoms. Like every time they'd come on, he'd start singing the ABBA song, you know, thank you for the music. But he'd be saying, thank you for the symptoms. And like, I just think stuff like that. I know it sounds insane. I know. But brains are insane. Brains are great. Brains are fucking amazing. They can send out a lot of different signals to us as warning signs, as flags, trying to get our attention. They can be just, their input they're getting is, we're in danger. Like if you're watching horrible videos from the news and all that all the time, and your negative self-talk and just, I have to do this, I have to do so many things, and blah, 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 no, I don't have enough help. Your brain can just become absolutely terrified, like there is a tiger about to eat you, and it can just put you in shutdown. It can put you in all this pain to like just try and shrink your world, stop you moving, keep you alive. It's just trying to keep you alive. Like your brain cannot work against you. It's wired to protect you. It doesn't care that if you're happy or comfortable, it just wants to keep you alive. Biology. But it's absolutely amazing. I just had no idea that like a lot of those symptoms I was getting after COVID was actually my brain trying to do something nice. So I started thanking my brain. I was like, thank you for trying to keep me safe. I'm fine though. I don't really like that sensation. It's not as cooling as I'd like it to be. And I did, like that's all brain retraining, all the different thought processes, all the different visualizations and word swapping. And this is just my thing that I constantly am reading about right now and talking to people about, and because I think it's just amazing, and I feel like I've learned certain things at such a young age that it's just going to result in the rest of my life being much easier, like much easier than it might have been if I hadn't known that stuff, and I might have just ended up in absolute agony, in shite health. I'm going to stop talking now. Let's go somewhere nice.
I'm not going home. Not really.
We're on the hunt for a bird bath. Like, no, not that one, but like something of that size. No, Sebs. This place is absolutely amazing. It's called Architectural Salvage. This one's lovely. They're nice.
Look what it is.
It's for birdies. This is like 1,300. It is gorgeous, but it's a bit much. Here's just full of dusty old treasures. We found one that's €250 and does have bits of rust and stuff, but Thomas said we could paint it.
Well, it's iron.
Yeah.
Just sand it and paint it.
Thomas wants this stag, and to be fair, if we could afford him, I would love to look out the front window and see that every day. That would make me very, very happy.
Yeah, this is what we need. Hanging over the bed.
I love this one. It's got like little faces and designs in it. but it's a grand. It's too much. Wouldn't be going that crazy now. This is reminding me of Return to Oz for some reason. I feel like I'm in that terrifying movie. We need some garden furniture as well, and online I saw, I like this little table is really cute, and my dad has a little set, but I don't want to keep robbing his one. They cool? Making us some lunch. I'm making a Thai red tofu noodle bowl. Delicious. Curry, 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 curry in my tummy. Yummy, 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 yum. Good morning. I'm just gonna chat to you while I do a little face massage, and this is the ordinary 100% organic cold pressed rosehip seed oil. Any oil is grand for a wee face massage. I get asked a fair bit, do I still do like the face roller or gua sha? I lost the gua sha, I broke the roller, and being ADHD just forgot to order them again. But as I said in my original face massage video, fingers, you can do so much with your fingers. You really don't need an expensive tool. The most underrated skincare secret is that blood flow is your best friend, and it is free. You can make it happen by yourself. Apparently a lot of like aging in terms of wrinkles and all is to do with facial tension and your fascia and all that. So like just doing a bunch of movements to, like, sometimes I even do inside my face, because when you go for a proper face massage they actually start on the inside and they're like, you know, all up in here, and it's so painful that you realize how much tension is actually in your face. It just feels so good. So if I'm doing like moisturizer or oil, sometimes I'll just do a little bit of massaging just to try and get rid of a lot of the tension in my whole face. But I yesterday went to a wellness event run by my friend Amy, and it was absolutely amazing. It was her first wellness event. She is just after qualifying as a yoga teacher. As a mammy, like, it was the most peaceful and nourishing couple of hours. It was in Lusk, and it was all like, you know, mindfulness and guided meditations and gentle movement, like not like yoga, but restorative yoga. So just poses where you can really fully relax and release your entire body. And I was doing some lovely deep breathing during it, and just, oh my god, I know we all know that kind of thing is good for us, but it's very hard to provide that for yourself. I find it much easier to do meditation and stuff when someone is guiding it. Don't get me wrong, I love whacking on a guided meditation and listening to it and doing it here in the house, but being in a room with other people who are also carving out space and time for themselves to just like align and feel a bit better, like there's just a lovely energy in the room. There was such a nice energy, and Amy she has the warmest energy. I can't even tell you, like, this girl, she and I have kind of known each other for years and years and years. I kind of grew up around her now husband, through like family members and stuff like that. Anyway, that's kind of how I first became aware of who she was. She was kind of like an acquaintance I just see at random things, and the two of us just kind of were always kind of drawn to each other. And even in my early social media days, like, she used to reach out a lot and I used to reach out to her, and she was always one of those people like I wanted to be friends with but I just didn't know how to make friends as an adult. Like, it's hard, it's awkward when you just don't really know how to go from being like, oh, we know each other, to actually being mates and texting and voice noting and meeting up. And I got a bit more practice with that through YouTube. Like, I did kind of have to go to all these like different events with different people, and like that helped me practice my making friends in adulthood skills. If you ever want a video about that, because I feel like my whole friend circle, I have multiple different friend circles, but my friend situation now is the best it's ever been, because I've like purposefully made a lot of effort to be friends with people who are just a positive force in my life, and made steps to move away from people who were not.
And then sometimes it is just a case of like you move in different directions and life happens and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely kind of realized like when certain friendships were like just really, really, really pulling me down and draining me, and when friendships would leave me feeling energized and like a real friendship where like they don't make you feel guilty if you don't get back to them straight away, or like, you know, time can go by between when you meet up and it feels like nothing has changed. Like that's what I want and need in my adult friendships. And Amy and I, like, we're both so on the same page with that. And yeah, Amy has been through so much in her life. She is a mama of 2, and her daughter, her firstborn, didn't make it. She is a wee angel, and Amy named her Anya, and Amy has kept her spirit so alive through, you know, continuing to just keep her memory alive. Like, she has a beautiful garden where Anya's buried, where she, like, you know, has loads of gorgeous bits, and she like visits her all the time and talks about it all the time on Instagram. And that experience obviously was like life-changing for Amy. She has a little boy as well. His name is Aaron, and he is just so adorable. And she's just one of those people that I just really like. I'm obsessed with her. Like, she honestly, like, she does acting on stage in like community things, which I really want to do. I really want to like audition and be in a local theatre thing. Like, Amy's done that a few times. I saw her perform years ago on stage, and she's so good at it. But she is also one of the reasons I started going to like the sexy dance classes. Like, she's been super into that. She's so gorgeous. She's done beauty pageants, and I only found out recently she's also like trained up as a massage therapist, and she's just like anything she's like interested in, she just goes for it. And I just think she's absolutely amazing. And we love a lot of the same things, like bonded over our love of Freddie Mercury, our obsession with Freddie Mercury. Anyway, so to have someone like her who's just, she's just so positive. And I don't mean in a toxic positive way. Like, you just feel really safe to like be yourself with her, and all emotions are safe. And so for someone like her to be running an event like that was so nice. But yeah, she had said before she'd love to do a video with me, just chatting, especially for other people who have experienced what she has after, like, you know, going through much of a pregnancy and then giving birth and baby not making it. I can't even imagine anything that would be more challenging to experience, and just how she has had, like, I don't want to ever just be like, oh, you're so strong and you're so brave and blah blah blah. Like, that affects her every second of every day. It's more in that, like, I think the fact that, I remember the way she described it before, is that if someone else, you know, announced a pregnancy, she was like, I can be happy for you and sad for me at the same time. To me, that just speaks volumes of her character as a person, that she can allow different feelings to coexist at once. And I think this is such an important thing that we don't talk about much, is that you don't have to kind of, if you have grief, if you've anger, if you've sadness, shame, resentment, anything like that, like a horrible feeling, you don't have to like get through that in order to get to a happier feeling. I saw an amazing reel about this recently. This therapist was explaining that. It's so true. I'm often feeling like a negative feeling at the same time as contentment or happiness or awe or joy. Like, it is possible to just basically broaden your capacity to sit with and hold emotions, rather than like it being like a thing where you have to bust through the bad one or push down the bad one to like jump over and get to the happy one. Because life doesn't work like that. There's always like difficult things all the time. And yeah, I think how much happier I've been in recent times, like a big part of it was realizing that, you know, in any given day I might like burst into tears about something, or like, you know, scream into a pillow, and like 2 minutes later I'm like, fine, I'm just feeling great, and like, oh, the birds and the flowers. I just love her so much, and had a great time, and I feel very rejuvenated. And my face feels like there's so much more blood flow to it now. So like, yeah, when I do this a fair bit, like my face just looks less dull because, yeah, the way we kind of can wrongly get into habits of using our facial muscles, especially like looking at phones and things like that, things can like stagnate and everything. And yeah, have a little wee massage, get a bit of oil. Even if you don't have something like this, olive oil is fine, coconut oil, grand.
Weed busters.
This man has been like a maniac in our garden recently, and he's been sorting everything out before we finally repaint the exterior of the house, and we're putting stones in the front garden and stuff like that around all the wee bushes. Some of you'll know this, some of you won't, but basically we bought our property 3 years ago, and in that time we have renovated maybe half of it. My dad built a house beside us, and in the process our garden went to shit. But this year Thomas's big plans in terms of our renovation progress was to get on top of the garden.
Yeah, because it's cheap.
It's not that cheap. No,
It's cheaper.
He has been mowing grass, strimming, putting black stuff. What's the stuff you've been putting on top of the weeds?
Like a weed barrier? Is that
Weed
what it's
barrier.
called? It lets air and water through, but it doesn't let light through. So it kills the weeds.
When we moved in, one of you, I don't know which one of you it was, but if you remember commenting this, just let me know below who it was. One of you commented we were putting wood chip down in our front garden, and someone was just like, why are you not using the black? One of you definitely mentioned it, and I was like, oh, are all the weeds
I
just
remember
gonna come
just
up?
thinking at the time, I was like, yeah, but we'll put the wood chip down, then we can just weed out whatever weeds peek their heads through, and it'll be fine. But then we just started doing other jobs in the house, and then I turned around and all of a sudden the place was a wilderness again.
It
so
was
it was just
such a wilderness. I loved the garden when it was a wilderness, but it's just not very practical when you've got kids who want to play in the garden and all.
there's
And
just thistles everywhere.
thistles, yeah, the thistles were over here. There was thistles nearly as tall as me, and I'm not exaggerating, they were massive. So yeah, obviously what we had shared is like the big muck hill is gone. Thomas and my son planted some trees, apple trees, plum trees, pear trees,
Silver birch,
alder,
alder,
silver birch,
downy birch.
downy birch. Thomas has also been planting baby grass in front of my dad's house, so dad's side of the garden has all this fresh new grass growing up, and we have chosen the stones that we're going to buy. So I'll insert a picture in case you get as horny for stones as we do. This is the kind of thing that I get excited about now. We picked a bird bath as well. I know we were looking at those ones in Architectural Salvage, but we found one that's a bit cheaper.
It's like a fountain.
Main thing I wanted to vlog right now is that Thomas found a recipe for a safe homemade weed killer, like a non-toxic one, and it actually works. We were a bit skeptical of it.
The secret ingredient I found is sunlight, so it has to be very hot, but it
does work. You look like a Ghostbuster. So where did you buy this?
20 quid in a garden centre, and I got 5 litres of vinegar in a garden centre, and I got Epsom salt in a garden centre, and fairy liquid from our kitchen. But it's basically a gallon of vinegar, a cup of Epsom salt, and a tablespoon of fairy liquid.
Well, he sprayed the weeds on our patio like an hour ago, and they look like this already.
And there's a couple that are in shade, and they seem to be hanging in there. So it definitely, the sunlight thing definitely seems to be important.
So we're going to go and spritz the front garden. Our front garden, honest to God, if we wanted to keep it weed free, would need to be around this time of year, you'd need to be scraping it every few days because they just pop up so quickly. Yeah, the house is ready for paint as well. Our tree, there's nothing wrong with this lovely tree. We've just he's out from the wall to give the painters a bit of room because we don't really want to get rid of it. Look, our little old lady still lives in here. There you go, Margaret. But the roots are, you know, destroying the driveway, and we were kind of talking about should we get rid of it. Thomas's dad said that this, whatever flowers these are, gave
give him like mad allergies. Oh no, I'm after touching it. But it creates this lovely divide between Dad's house and our house. These hanging baskets, we've another one of those to go up on Dad's side when the house is painted. And we bought a load of paint samples for the exterior. I had wanted to make it look real Irish cottagey and do like the real white and red combo, or like white and black and red, that kind of combination. The thing is, red just does not work with this. It just looks rotten. And so we were looking at deep charcoaly colours, and the ones we bought, they look blue when we put samples on. So what we've gone with is this kind of like really dark green. It's Dulux Donegal grass, and then we're just doing brilliant white on the actual house. So I am so excited for it to like look really clean and freshened up, and for the stones to be down on all this black stuff, and then just coming into the driveway, it'll feel so much more cared for than it has. It's felt as disheveled as we have felt with babies. Bring you through this little tunnel in our front garden to our gorgeous tree. I am obsessed with this tree. We have become good friends. I do a lot of earthing and grounding these days for the old nervous system. I just find it really makes me feel better, just getting out and being one with nature. But this tree has a face. I got this little face at a Christmas market. This tree is called Samantha. My son wanted to call the tree Samantha because there's a joke in Frozen 2. Any other parents who are forced to rewatch Frozen on repeat will know the Samantha joke. And so now every morning when we're walking to school, we say, "Good morning, Samantha." Have any of you seen the documentary Earthing? It's on YouTube. Please watch it if you suffer any inflammation at all. It will give you something to think about, because the kind of idea is that we need to be touching the earth for our health, and that a lot of like illnesses and issues that we experience as human beings comes down to the fact that we wear synthetic like shoe bases, like the shoes cut us off from the earth. And I know it sounds very silly, but we need to breathe air, we need to drink water, we need sunlight. Without these things we are toast. And I think that earthing has made a massive difference to my mental and my physical health. And yes, I'm very privileged to have a garden, but you don't need to own a garden. You just need to go anywhere where there's dirt or sand or grass, and you know, you don't have to take your shoes off and be a big hippie. You can just do this. Apparently it is like instantaneous. Touch a tree, cuddle a tree. And look, I am clearly not a Mother Earth type, like we're killing weeds. I'm not a vegan or whatever, but there really is something to the whole earthing, grounding thing. And I wouldn't go as far as to like get a grounding mat for my bed and like sleep on a grounding mat, but a lot of people do that and report massive changes with like any health conditions that involve a lot of inflammation. And there has been some research on it, and it's very emergent, I would say, because it's one of those things where there's just no money in it. There's no money in it, so who really funds the research? Anything that's like got a huge ton of anecdotal evidence, I tend to entertain it and try it out, and then if I notice a difference, then I'm like, okay. Children!
Even more things.
The kids are destroying my dad's house while we vlog. Come here, Dad. Any retirement update for us?
I ordered a telescope, paid for it. They said 2 weeks shipping. Then an email saying it won't ship until March next year. So I cancelled it, and I'm looking for something else.
It's been the one thing he's been so excited about for retirement, is getting a really amazing telescope. If any of you are stargazers and have any advice on good places to order telescopes, we're going to go and maybe get some ice cream and enjoy this sun while we have it. welcome to two very tired mammies.
This camera actually makes me look nice. I'm feeling really crap about myself, so I actually look kind of nice.
Sarah has a 4-month-old.
4.5.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of yous were subscribed to Sarah back in the day. We used to do collabs, and you might remember we did a collab where we were like, baby names we might use in the future.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Anytime Sarah's here, I usually forget to film because babies and children, and they're all asleep, and even Thomas is asleep. But we are
Powering through at
we
like
should be
half
asleep.
7.
It's half 7. It's like
Naked.
it's lashing rain now, and yeah, we should probably be asleep. But we wanted to have a little chat with you. Firstly, we were just kind of talking about. So I normally go to bed with the kids like 5 out of 7 nights a week, and they go to bed like 7 or 8 o'clock most of the time, sometimes 6:30. And I often go to bed with them because they wake up very early, and I feel like then on the couple of nights that I do stay up, like I can kind of push through the tiredness the next day. But Sarah is, you know, in that stage where like it's so full on all day that you really need the decompression time at the end of the day. And I was saying that to you, that when I had like mine were babies, I never used to go to bed with them, even though everyone was like, sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yeah, when I'm driving on the car, I'm just going to stop and, you know, on the M50, like,
Yeah. I saw such a funny reel, and it was a woman out pushing her buggy, and it was like, sleep when the baby sleeps. So she just goes, she's standing up. But yeah, I just was wondering what yous do. Anyone with children, like, do you stay up way after they go to bed? Because I have to be in bed for like 9 or 10 hours to get 8 hours. And I feel like shit if I have any less than 7.5 hours. I kind of just
I don't even know how much hours I get because I wake up so much anyway. I always did that before I had a baby, and now it's even worse because it's like, oh, the baby moves slightly, and I'm just like,
We're going to see if we can film a video tomorrow or the next day. Sarah has very kindly offered to share her experiences about
IVF, baby, being a single mom, just doing it on your own.
Yeah, so Sarah has a baby. There's no daddy involved, and a lot of you are in a situation where you're considering doing that. I've had so many messages over the past like 3 years in particular. I think a lot of my followers are getting older, so like they're people who aren't in a relationship are like, I kind of want to do this, but I don't know. And so Sarah was going to share her experience, which would be very helpful, I think, for people to listen to someone who's been through it or who's going through it still. Sarah has a question for you as well, which is another reason I wanted to film about the most helpful advice you have for getting a baby from boob to bottles of formula. I'm useless with help because I tried this and I failed. So
yeah, so like it's not even just normal formula. So I just found out that my baby has a cow milk protein allergy. Well, we think so. It's there's
she
a rash.
reacts if you put it on her skin.
And I think she doesn't like the taste of it, which I'm using Natramagen. I think that's the one I live in the UK, so it's what's prescribed on NHS. So it just doesn't taste or smell nice. And a lot of people say you have to go for the expensive stuff. But I'd like to try and get her onto the Natramagen because, you know, single mom, you know, save some bucks. Yeah. So if anyone has any advice getting into that, particularly like dairy-free stuff. I have been trying mixing breast milk and the Natramagen and upping the, you know, kind of changing around with the doses to up the dairy-free. And today was the first day of upping it a little bit more. And yeah, she didn't really take the bottle. Yeah. So yeah, we did try vanilla extract as well. So if there's any other tips. Guides,
and you have how much maternity leave are you getting, like a year total?
So yeah, I have 8 months to figure it out, but I'd like to get her off the boob by 6 months, so I've got 2 months.
Another thing, anyone who has found an amazing childminder that you're really, really happy with, what are like the 3 things that you would recommend to someone who wants to find an amazing childminder? Because the area where Sarah lives, it's like they're all full, or they're not free, and yeah, that's again something like I feel like I'm shit with helping with. So I was like any area where I'm a bad friend, I can get my followers and rope them in, because I always ask them stuff when I don't know what I'm doing, and then I get some great advice back.
Yeah, like just like even to know what I should be looking out for, because like, you know, I could meet someone and they seem lovely, it's like, oh, they'll be fine, but like there was someone that I was like recommended, and then I found out that they did not treat the child very well, or a different child. So I was like, what do I need to do? Like, I think one person said my child is crying.
Baby's awake. Yeah, so Sarah lives up in Northern Ireland. I live in Dublin. Her family live down here as well, so she does be up and down quite a lot. And yeah, she has so much that she wants to talk about, you know, everything that she factored into her decision to have a baby by herself, and the things that, you know, she would have liked to know beforehand and all of that kind of stuff. And I just think it would be so lovely for her to share that stuff. Yeah, we're having a couple of sleepovers. We are going to a big birthday party tomorrow for one of our friends' children, and it's amazing because almost all of our friends have kids, and it's just it's so nice. Like, since Sarah had her baby, we've actually all been meeting up an awful lot more. And I remember after I had my first child being so sad and feeling so like disconnected and things like that, and thinking, oh, this is just what happens when you have kids. But no, it was the pandemic, it was the lockdowns, and it was a bit of a fact that people didn't have kids themselves. But if you're coming into that where you're like, oh, my friends are going to start having kids and we're all going to like fall out of touch or whatever, it can be the opposite. Like, you could all actually grow so much closer and end up spending way more time together. The best part is the time that we're spending together is like sober time during the daytime. As you know, I don't drink, and I've been not drinking for 6 years. But like, I met Sarah when I was 16, and for many years, anytime we saw each other, it was like we were on a night out or at a party getting very, very drunk. And yeah, a lot of that group kind of I associated with that. That's kind of how a lot of people, young people in Ireland, do socialise and do make friends and that kind of thing. But yeah, Thomas and I are not in a stage of life where that's appealing anymore. Like, not that Thomas is sober as well, but he barely ever drinks. And like last week, he went on a night out. Do you remember the day where we were having ice creams on the beach? That was a week before I filmed this, but that night he went on a night out with the lads, and yeah, he got back like, I don't know, really, really late, but he really suffered the next day for it. And it's mad because me and him and Sarah, like, we used to go to house parties and stay up drinking right up until the sun was coming up. Like, the night when Thomas and I first kissed, that was at a party where, yeah, we it was bright out when we were getting a lift home. Yeah, so I've known Sarah since I was 16, and I think Thomas has maybe known her the same amount of time, but I didn't meet Thomas until I was 20. So yeah, we kind of both came into the same group through different routes. Like, my cousin introduced me to Sarah and all the rest of them, and Thomas was in school with them, and he kind of joined their group at the end of secondary school. Don't know if this is even interesting to anyone, but yeah, when I met Thomas, I was in a relationship, a rather new relationship that I ended up being in for kind of 5-6 years on and off. And when we first broke up, me and this ex-partner, Thomas was in a relationship, and I remember I was trying to like rebound with him, because we always kind of, you know, even when you're in a relationship, there's people who you just immediately have chemistry with when you meet them. And, you know, he was never inappropriate or anything like that, but it was very obvious that there was something. My ex didn't like him. My ex was onto it. But yeah, when me and this ex broke up, we were broken up for a few months, I was like sliding into Thomas's DMs, and he was like, my girlfriend is over if you want to meet up. And I ended up basically on a date with Thomas and his ex-girlfriend. So yeah, I ended up just going on a big tangent about like how our group hangs out a lot more now that we all have kids and stuff like that, which is really nice. And like, it's a lot more hanging out without alcohol, because which is great. But then I was talking about like when we were younger, and we always used to just get pissed all the time, drink all night,
every weekend, like sometimes like both Friday and Saturday.
It was crazy.
Couldn't do that now.
And yeah, because so I met the group when I was 16, but I kind of didn't get fully folded into it for a few more years, like. But yous were all very incestuous, so
especially me,
especially Sarah, like everyone in the group basically hooked up with everyone else in the group, but it's
And
so
they hooked up
funny.
with me. Let's be honest.
Even Thomas.
Oh yeah.
Thomas was mad about Sarah. And it's really funny. Like, I hooked up with like one of Thomas's best friends, and like at the wedding, like, you know, you were a bridesmaid and he was a groomsman.
Yeah, I hooked up with our cousins. So. don't watch this. Nobody
Don't think he watches this. But the group were so incestuous, and I feel like I missed all of the really fun part of that, because I kind of only came in at a point where everyone like was going out with people, but now we'll all be at a party and it's like everyone is like married with kids and stuff, but everyone's still really good friends.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
So weird.
I know. I just wonder, is that like a normal thing, friend group thing? It must be. Like in a
See, we're all very good looking. Sorry, I'm not going to lie.
I mean,
We're all
come
very-
on.
and we're all like horny teenagers.
Yeah.
Bound to happen. We were all really incestuous when we were like 16. We go to the tennis courts and we all like shift each other. Like.
What do you say for kissing with tongues? Shift, meet,
I like saying
make out.
Make out, yeah.
I'll be back again for some late night tired mammy chats with Sarah, and hopefully we'll get to film this video. But if you have any questions for Sarah or any tips on the formula stuff or the childminder stuff, that'd be very much appreciated.
Thanks, Chris.
So,
Oh yeah.
I'll bring you to the party tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a little
Little kids party, yeah. Last month's film review section got my vlog first deleted from YouTube. YouTube just deleted the entire April video, and then obviously had an issue with that. And then they just put an 18's age rating on the video. The film chats last month were about the movie Chocolat, and yeah, I was very pissed off about that. The reference in question that I got in trouble for was to do with binge eating. I'm going to try and keep this film review clean, but there will be a reference to sex. So, who knows? Maybe this is going to be 18s too. It's so funny because I actually used to make quite adult YouTube videos. These vlogs feel very tame compared to some of my old videos, but anyway. Welcome back to Film Chats. Today is another movie set in France, and this is one of my favourites. This is a movie that inspired me not once but twice to trim my own fringe in my 20s. We are talking about Amélie. I went to the Amélie cafe. I've watched the movie way too many times, but I mentioned it on Instagram. So I wanted to rewatch something that I'd already seen, something that I already love, because when the world is very scary, I'm feeling very frightened of AI recently. It's looking like a lot of jobs are going to be gone within the next few years, and I'm just having a lot of feelings about everything. And yeah, when I feel a bit overwhelmed by the world, I love coming back to a movie that I know is amazing, and when I know what's going to happen in the movie, it just really soothes my anxieties. It's not just that, like, there are certain films that entertain you, and there are certain films that completely shift the way you see the world. And for me, Amélie is one of those films. I think a lot of people reduce Amélie to that whimsical French movie with the woman with the fringe who skipped stones, and it's all very weird and silly. But a lot of people really miss the heart of this movie. What Amélie is about, under all of the hyper stylized visuals and the whimsy, is the art of noticing people, noticing life as it's unfolding around you moment to moment, noticing the little things. Amélie is this quiet, observant young woman who takes deep pleasure in the unnoticed, like the way people's faces change in the dark in the cinema, the sound of cracking a creme brulee.
She doesn't chase attention or recognition, and she has this lovely kindness that's anonymous and often a little odd, but it's, yeah. Anyway, I always come back to this movie because I have tried to take the energy of this film into my own life. And what I mean by that is just, yeah, like being present, rushing less, taking a breath and looking around and noticing things, and how much more magic and alive life feels when you live that way. Like the steam coming off your coffee, like really looking at it, looking at the teeny little lines in my children's hands when they're playing in the bath with water. Amélie is a film that will help you to find pleasure in the small things, to slow down enough to notice them, to realize that those are the big things in life. And anyway, as a film enthusiast, I really would love someday to work on movies. I'd love to do a master's in screenwriting. You know, I'm a young chicken. I've loads of time to do all the things I want to do. But this movie is like visually just a feast. I'm obsessed with how colour is used in this film to tell the story. It has a very kind of specific colour palette. You'll notice this if you watch it more than once. And when colours are used like this with care in storytelling, it does a lot of the emotional heavy lifting, if you get me. In terms of scenes, like I have so many favourite scenes, but I just love the bit where she's wondering how many people are having an orgasm at the exact same time in Paris. And I know it's a bit silly, like people often remember that scene probably for the wrong reasons, like just ooh, sex. It's just such a beautiful depiction of how life is always happening everywhere. We're never as separate as we think. Like Amélie is on her own, and like there's just, in thinking this, like there's this thread joining her to all these other people. I watched this film through such a sentimental lens. You can't tell. The music, the soundtrack of this film is so beautiful. It's probably one of my favourite soundtracks, movie soundtracks. It's probably my favourite type of music to listen to, is scores, just like wordless music from movies. One that no one really ever talks about is Old Boy. The original Old Boy, the soundtrack of that's beautiful, but like that and Amélie are like up there for me. It just has this nostalgic, hypnotic quality. If I'm ever walking through a beautiful city and listening to that music on my headphones, I just feel I am living a memory. I've been thinking a lot about how I'm trying to raise my kids and just how tech dominated the world is now and stuff, and I think that is something that is at the root of so many mental health and physical health problems, is just like that disconnection from the present moment, that kind of constant living in what am I missing out on by not scrolling on my phone right now, what has happened, what will happen, like just constantly living in the future or the past, and not just being right here looking at the texture on your toast and really hearing the giggles of your kids and just like feeling the carpet under your feet. Like just so much of the whole wellness community is trying to bring to people what this movie's whole message is. Like, instead of trying to escape your life, look at it through new eyes. And I try to do that every day, and I just hope that my content encourages some of you to do that by living as I do and sharing what I do, that maybe Amélie is having some pretty big ripple effects, because this film changed my life. And if you've not watched it, please do. I could talk about it for 15 hours, but I'm trying really hard to keep these videos under an hour and a half long. If you're ever watching one of my videos and you're enjoying it, please do take a second to hit the little like thing underneath the video or leave a comment, because those things really help YouTube to realize that, oh yeah, people are enjoying this, and then it'll show it to more of my followers. But I just want to, if you're one of the 30,000 people who have been coming back and watching these since I started posting them again, lovely to have you here. I feel just stupidly blessed to have all of you with me. And so we end another month of monthly vlog. I'm going to finish my cold coffee. I'll savour the flavour of it anyway. And yeah, I'm going to see you again next month. If you have any questions at all, leave them down below. leave me a little yellow heart if you've made it this far in the video. And that's me. I'm gonna go. My whole family's out in the garden.
I love my family.